What is going on, my beautiful people? 2024 has been quite a weird, interesting year for anime. This year, we've actually seen the rise of a lot of new anime due to a bit of a lull in the kind of newer seasons of really popular, already established big anime, such as like mainstream shonens like JJK, Chainsaw Man, Hell's Paradise. You get the idea. I mean, we did get the 4th season of Demon Slayer in 2024, but after the lackluster season 3 and the slow start to Season 4, it really kind of left the door open for a new anime to come in and really take over the anime world, take the anime world by storm in 2024. Hello everyone, I'm Finn. Welcome back to finnfilms. In today's video, we are discussing the best anime of 2024, from new hit shonen like Windbreaker and Solo Leveling, to old favorites like the 3rd season for Re:Zero and the aforementioned Demon Slayer season, as well as reboots like Dragon Ball Daima, to the anime that took 2024 by storm, the romantic comedy Dandadan. It's honestly kind of crazy to think back and think that Solo Leveling made its debut in the early parts of this year, because it feels like forever ago now. I oftentimes wonder if anime that's released like early on in the spring and winter, early on in like January, February months of the year, have a real disadvantage when it comes to like, winning anime of the year, because recency bias is so strong. We just forget how good and how much of an impact that good anime that are released in the early parts of the year in those months really had by the time we get down into the end of the year, and we've seen so many shows. To me, this is exactly the case that happened with the anime adaptation of the Korean manhwa Solo Leveling, which made crazy waves with the early parts of 2024. Solo Leveling is kind of a fresh new take on the like stuck in a video game or like kind of fantasy video game mechanics interacting with real world, these types of anime and tropes. And when you realize that the animation studio behind Solo Leveling is A1 Production, the studio that animated Sword Art Online, things start to make a lot more sense. Of course, A1 Pictures has worked on a lot of anime, more than Sword Art Online. Actually, it's kind of crazy just how many like really good, highly rated animes A1 Picture has actually worked on. So in many ways, they were the kind of perfect studio to bring the insane artwork of Solo Leveling in its manhwa, in its drawn form, to life in animated form. Solo Leveling tells the story of a young hunter, Jinwoo, who lives in our modern world, where one day a strange interdimensional gate started appearing throughout the world, letting loose these fantasy monsters into our reality. Alongside these gates, various humans were transformed into hunters and bestowed superhuman abilities, one of them being our main character, Jinwoo, who has been dubbed the weakest hunter in all of mankind. Well, that is until my boy has this insane glow up. What I really love about Solo Leveling is the way that it kind of plays with many modern shonen tropes, like this kind of fantasy isekai-esque themes, the trapped in a video game, the video game like mechanics and tropes and themes, as well as the kind of like weak, adorable main character who suddenly like has a glow up and becomes an OP badass. But it executes all of these themes extremely well. Now, if you've watched any of my other anime content, you know that I am pretty tired of the isekai kind of fantasy video game like show tropes that really plague modern anime. I mean, there's so many isekai anime, so many like fantasy themed anime out there, like it's not even funny. And while yes, some of them might be good, to me, this genre and these themes are so played out and it's so oversaturated that I really don't even care to give a lot of them a chance. Solo Leveling, though, takes many of these types of themes and then blends them with like insane animations, characters with real personality and in-story motivation and character progression that actually make you care about the character, as well as some dark adult themes to create an anime that really blew away all expectations that I had for this show. As well, I think it's really cool to see more Korean manhwa, which is basically just like Korean manga or like webtoons, graphic novels, if you will, being turned into an animated form by Japanese anime production studios. The Koreans know their shit when it comes to media. The Koreans have made some of my favorite shows and movies, even books of all time. So it is, to me, super exciting to see Korean graphic novels, webtoons become more and more mainstream and be adapted into anime. And I think Solo Leveling is a really perfect example of a Korean artist and a Korean storyteller playing on many themes that are established through Japanese manga and anime and then putting his own twist on them. Honestly, had Solo Leveling come out in the fall later into 2024, I think for many people it might be a no-brainer to be anime of the year, and I really hope that season 2 of Solo Leveling can continue to live up to the very high standards of hype that season 1's 8.27 score on my anime list has set it. Moving on, I want to talk about another anime that was released in spring of 2024, a new anime that really took me by surprise, the all-new sci-fi action shonen Kaiju 8. Kaiju 8 tells the story of Japan in a sci-fi future where giant monsters known as Kaiju regularly attack the island nation. Our story centers around one man, Kafka Hibeno, who makes a pact with his childhood best friend to join the Kaiju Defense Force after their hometown was destroyed when they were kids. 20 years later, though, and Kafka has all but given up on this dream as he has failed on numerous occasions to pass the trials to join the Defense Force. Instead, he finds himself working as one of the city's cleaners who clean up the mess of the dead Kaiju after the Defense Force destroys them. However, things change for Kafka dramatically when one day he and his new co-worker Reno are attacked by a massive kaiju, Kafka saving Reno, both of them ending up in a hospital where Kafka is once again attacked by a small, strange little kaiju, which transforms him into a human kaiju hybrid with the strength and power of these massive beasts. Dubbed Kaiju number 8 by the military, Kafka is forced to hide his powers in fear of being viewed as the enemy by his own people, by humans, while trying to use his newfound gifts for the greater good in secret as he and Reno manage to join the Defense Force. Now, I love this show for a variety of reasons. A show about kaiju, check. An action anime with some banger animations and healthy dose of comedy sprinkled in, check. A cool, interesting story with actual character development, check. A reference to an early 20th century existential philosopher, check. Now, bear with me here. I know this is about to get extremely nerdy, but one of the things that I really love about Kaiju 8 is its very obvious inspiration from the novel Metamorphosis, a philosophical short story written by Franz Kafka in the early 20th century. In Metamorphosis, the book, the main character transforms into a strange bug-like creature and is completely despised and ridiculed by his family. So, yeah, the inspiration for Kaiju 8 is pretty apparent and obvious. The main character, as well, is literally named Kafka after the writer of this short story. As soon as I saw the trailer for this anime, I knew I was going to like it. It just incorporates so many themes that I love into one story, not to mention that it was animated by Production IG, the studio behind one of my favorite anime, Vinland Saga, as well as Haikyuu, and obviously the Attack on Titan series. So yeah, you know that this anime had some real potential if Production IG was getting on board, and it did not disappoint, as the animations in Kaiju 8 do hit pretty hard, and manage to do many of the crazy scenes from the manga actual justice. Kaiju 8, like Solo Leveling, is another contender for Anime of the Year in my opinion, and the fanbase seemed to agree, as at the time, Kaiju 8 has a solid 8.3 on my anime list. No small feat, especially for a debuting anime. Again, I think if this anime would have dropped later on in the year, in the summer or the fall of 2024, I think that more people would have been hyping up this anime and potentially getting on board with Kaiju 8 as being one of the best anime of the year. But unfortunately, the anime cycle moves fast. We just get so many shows that come out over the course of a calendar year that people seem to forget everything that happens in the first few months of 2024. Next, I want to quickly mention the newest season of Demon Slayer, Season 4, the Hashira training arc, as you can't really talk about anime of the year without mentioning one of the most popular, mainstream shonen anime that has come out over the last, 5-6 years to date, and that is Demon Slayer. Now, Season 4 of Demon Slayer also seemed to struggle a little bit like Season 3. It started off really slow and had many fans disappointed when compared to the heights of Season 1 and Season 2, though Season 4, I have to say, does end off with an absolute bang that to me makes the slow start of this season worth it completely. However, Season 4 of Demon Slayer to me is an anime of the year, though I do think that it does need to be mentioned because it is a season of Demon Slayer, and Demon Slayer is insanely popular. Even the lows, the kind of slow seasons of Demon Slayer are still extremely popular. And I do think that the ending of this season was so hype and had some of the best, most insane animations I've ever seen from any anime ever. I do think that it had to be mentioned when we're discussing some of the best anime to come out in 2024. Moving on, I want to talk about another anime, another debut anime that took me by surprise, and that is the delinquent martial arts shonen by Aniplex, Windbreaker. Windbreaker is a kind of classic take on like high school delinquent action shonen kind of themes, which tells the story of a young first-year high school student named Sakura who recently transferred to a new high school that is infamous for its delinquent culture and its students. The school is run by a gang of boys who call themselves Bofurin, who, to Sakura's surprise, are respected by the town, as it is revealed that despite these boys' antics and oftentimes prickly outer shells, they do serve as the town's protectors from rival high school gangs as well as other delinquents. This is a real kind of classic take on like the delinquent shonen kind of martial art themes, one of my favorite Japanese themes being the delinquent kind of trope, which is probably made most famous, at least recently, for anime like Tokyo Revengers. As this idea of like a roaming gang of like high school kids that beat the shit out of each other and just fight like other gangs of high school kids is like one of the craziest parts of like Japanese culture to me. Obviously, this kind of delinquent culture, or like Yankee culture as it's known, has all but diminished in like modern Japan, but way back in the day in like post-war Japan in like the 60s, 70s, and even 80s, this shit was a real and insane. Windbreaker at its core is a kind of wholesome action like martial arts anime with a tsundere main character who has to learn to accept having friends and being accepted by other people, while also kicking ass with a variety of really kind of fun and interesting and extremely well designed side characters. While Windbreaker isn't anime of the year, to me it really was a fun kind of surprise in the 2024 anime catalog, and it does have some of my favorite character designs of any anime to come out this year, so I really just wanted to give it a shout out. I want to talk about an anime that is extremely important. It might be the most important anime to come out in 2024, and that is the final anime done by the Japanese legend Akira Toriyama in the Dragon Ball series reboot Dragon Ball Daima. Dragon Ball Daima tells the story of Goku and the gang in a return to the same kind of feelings and vibes of the original Dragon Ball story, this kind of comedic adventure animated series. The story takes place after the defeat of Majin Buu, and Goku and the gang are suddenly transformed back into children, back into their like childlike forms of themselves after the new king of the demon world, Goma, makes a wish with Earth's Dragon Balls. Goku and the gang then being forced to venture out into the demon world in an attempt to return everyone back to normal in a fun action kind of comedy adventure series that is very much a spiritual successor to the original Dragon Ball series as opposed to the battle shonen of Dragon Ball Z. Again, this anime is extremely special. It might be the most important anime of 2024 because of the untimely death and passing of the legend, the anime manga legend Akira Toriyama. In many ways, this is the last like true kind of season of a Dragon Ball anime, as any future seasons of this anime, as well as any other kind of Dragon Ball Z spin-offs that could be made, won't have Akira Toriyama working on it. So in many ways, to me, it doesn't really feel like they would be true Dragon Ball anime. To me, Dragon Ball Daima had to be included if we're discussing the best anime of 2024, not only because it is a fun return to the kind of feelings and vibes of the original Dragon Ball series and this kind of comedic adventure series, but because it is the last work that we're ever going to see from the legend Akira Toriyama. So to me, I had to include it. I had to do the man justice, as the man is an icon in the anime manga world. Real quick, I wanted to give a shout out to two honorable mentions. The first being a controversial anime, the anime adaptation of Japanese horror icon Junji Ito's Uzumaki. Now, before you crucify me in the comment section, I'm not saying that Uzumaki is the best anime to come out in 2024. It's not even close. I did a whole video detailing my kind of problems with Uzumaki. I'll put it in the eye above, and trust me, there are many of them. However, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to episode 1 of Uzumaki, which I think in a vacuum is amazing, is a masterpiece. Due to a variety of circumstances with this anime, episode 1 of Uzumaki has a much higher animation quality when compared to the other episodes of this miniseries. There have been numerous attempts to transform Junji Ito's work into the anime space, and most, if not all of them, have been a failure, but I have to say that episode 1 of Uzumaki in a Vacuum did an amazing job in capturing the horror and the unsettling feeling of Ito's work of Uzumaki. It's just a shame that this fell off a cliff from episodes 2 to 4. The second shout out I want to give is also a bit of a controversial one, and that is to the Netflix animated League of Legends series Arcane, the final season. Yes, I know, Arcane isn't an anime, it's not Japanese, and you best be happy that it wasn't Japanese, because if it was, it probably would win anime of the year. Even if the second season of Arcane wasn't as good as the first season of Arcane, this show was still an absolute banger, and you would honestly really hope it would be, if it is, as apparently it was reported that Riot Games spent nearly $250 million across both of the makings of both of the seasons of this show. Yeah, that's a fucking insane amount of money. That's more than like the average budget of like a major movie studio. Again, this isn't an anime, so it obviously can't win anime of the year, but it was a superb piece of animated content, so I just wanted to give it a quick shout out. Finally, we come to what might be the most popular anime of 2024, an anime with a staggering 8.78 on my anime list, the third season of the isekai anime Re:Zero. I mean, it's Re:Zero. What more do I even say? People are obsessed with this anime. Out of all the isekai anime out there, Re:Zero might just be the best to do it, especially when you consider Season 1, its debut in 2016. And to many fans out there, Season 3 is a return to form for Re:Zero and is miles better than the show's second season, which left many fans thinking that this anime might have fallen off. Now, I will say I was pretty shocked when I saw the first episode of Season 3 of Re:Zero was 90 minutes long. My dudes decided to put a whole-ass anime movie as the first episode of this season, but to my surprise, this actually kind of pays off pretty well. Now, I need to say that Re:Zero is not for everyone. This anime is not everyone's cup of tea. Again, it's isekai, and some people like me are just fed up with isekai, which I totally understand. As well, this anime does a lot of things that many people hate in anime, such as lolly, harem tropes, a main character that never changes his clothes, and a focus on really kind of anime isms and overused anime tropes. Despite this, though, I will say that Season 3 of Re:Zero, to me, is a return to form for Re:Zero, and as a whole, it kind of solidifies itself as one of the best and most popular isekai anime out there right now, and I do think that the third season of Re:Zero does manage to capture a lot of the interesting elements that, made Season 1 so popular and made people really kind of take notice of Re:Zero as really the kind of go-to isekai in the very oversaturated isekai space. So I'm sure to many people out there, Season 3 of Re:Zero might just be the best anime of 2024. But however, I don't think we can really talk about anime in 2024 without mentioning the massive romantic comedy-shaped elephant in the room, an anime that took the world and the internet by storm, the supernatural romantic comedy, Dandadan. The anime fandom is a really funny thing. It will never cease to amaze me when the anime fandom's online internet hype train gets behind an anime, how they absolutely send it to the moon. I mean, this happened with Demon Slayer, JJK, Chainsaw Man, and we saw it happen once again this year in 2024 with Dandadan. Dandadan is a sci-fi romantic comedy shonen that tells the story of two high school students, a rash, outgoing girl named Momo who believes in ghosts, and a shy, kind of nerdy boy named Kin, or Okarun, who believes in aliens. Their lives suddenly getting intertwined with one another when they make a bet about whether ghosts exist or aliens exist. To their shock, both finding out that both actually do exist. Both kids gaining strange supernatural powers as they are set off on a goofy action-adventure comedy together to reclaim Okarun's family jewels, as the two constantly engage in a kind of adorable will they won't they type relationship. Now, I remember doing my preview for Fall Anime 2024, and as soon as I saw the trailer for Dandadan, I knew that this anime was going to be a major hit. I mean, it's got insane animations, a ridiculous over-the-top plot filled with all sorts of horny bait, an adorable love story, a cute girl, and one of the best intro animations to come out in years. years, harkening back to some of the best intro animations of all time in the likes of Samurai Champloo and Cowboy Bebop. This anime was straight up made for the horny Twitter anime fan base, and wow, did it pop off even harder than I could have ever expected. A few weeks back, I put out a video going over Dandadan and specifically answering and discussing the question, is Dandadan overhyped? I highly recommend going and checking that video out to see kind of my full thoughts on this anime. But in short, yes, Dandadan is a little hyped, but I think that at its core, it's more misunderstood, and that doesn't take away from how good this show actually is. A lot of the critiques and criticism I've seen for this anime mainly focus on its kind of shonen battle anime elements, but this anime, while having shonen, kind of themes, isn't a shonen. It's a romantic comedy. And this is where the show excels, at being a romantic, over-the-top, ridiculous comedy, where a large part of said comedy comes in making fun of these kind of classic shonen themes. It's not a shonen anime. It's a parody of a shonen anime. Now, like ReZero, this anime is probably not for everyone. If you don't like silly, ridiculous, horny bait jokes, then you probably won't like Dandadan. It's really that simple. Fortunately, though, for Dandadan, most anime enjoyers are horny online degens, and it definitely kind of plays into the fan base's love for fan service, cute girls, and an adorable love story with banger animations. To me, Dandadan is really the obvious candidate for Anime of the Year, the best anime to come out in 2024. I know that's kind of a boring and obvious take, but really, to me, it's between Solo Leveling and Dandadan for the best anime of 2024. They are both very different anime that excel at two very different things, so at the end of the day, it really just comes down to, what do you enjoy more? Do you enjoy hard-hitting, kind of violent action, shonen themes, as well as, adult themes? Or a silly, ridiculous high school love story? As always, guys, with videos like these are just my thoughts and opinions, so feel free to let me know yours in the comment section down below. What do you think the best anime of 2024 was? Do you think that there was another anime out there that I left off this list? Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, if you did enjoy this video or learn something new, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, as that is the easiest way to help support me, and it really does go a long way in putting this video into the algorithm. If you did enjoy this video, then why don't you check out some of my other anime content on screen now, like my video going over why there will never be another anime like Samurai Champloo. Again, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Stay safe out there. Until next time, peace, love, Aru.